Okay, so here is another example here of something that actually this is going to be your next homework assignment. Your next homework assignment is going to be very short and easy to do. You're going to basically have something that looks like this and then have to tell me what the answer is. So it's basically going to be credit, no credit. Um, so make sure you double check and don't just copy someone else's answer. I suppose you can, and you get the 10 points and there's nothing I can do about it, but this is really to help you get a practice problem done that's going to show up on the exam next week. So this is really just to help us make sure that we understand um, how the code is going to work for us. And actually, I have one mistake here I want to do here. So let me pause this a second. Actually, I'm not going to say there's a mistake here. We'll just leave it as is. Because it's all just having to figure out the logic. It's just the code wasn't going to do exactly what I wanted it to do, which is fine. It's going to still give us a number. Okay, so basically, this problem is going to basically read something, determine the value of answer after the code has been executed. That's essentially what you're going to have to do here. Well, of course, all you have to do is just read this code straight through to figure it out. So we first start off that, okay, we have this integer x is equal to 4, y is equal to 3, z is equal to 5. We start off with answer being 0. So I'll just put in here, okay, answer equals 0. And I mean, obviously you don't need to comment things like this, but I'm basically just tracking through what answer is by reading one line at a time in this code. Okay, now it says answer is equal to x. Okay, so that means answer is now equal to 4 because I'm assigning the value of x here. Now we've got this loop here that I'm entering, and the first thing, again, when I do a loop, I should see how many times is this being executed. And the answer here, again, we did this in the last video, this is 6 times. So I first need to know how many times it's being executed so I know precisely what I should do here. And actually, I'm going to make one modification to the code here. Let's go ahead and no, I'll just leave it as is. No, let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to do I plus x, and here answer is equal to, modify that line of code. So we haven't really done anything yet, so that's fine. Okay, so how many times is it being executed? 6 times. We know that answer is equal to 4 right now. So I would do here, okay, I'm just going to make a little table here. Loop 1, loop 2, loop 3, loop 4, loop 5, loop 6. And I'm also going to track what the value of I is at each of these stages, just because it's in my code here. So I equals 0 for loop 1, because that's what it's initialized at. And so then I have to track. So currently answer is 4. So is answer less than 4? No, it's equal to 4. Or answer is greater than or equal to 10. Well, both of these are false, so I go to the next one. Is answer less than 12? The answer is, of course, yes, it is less than 12. So then I would do answer is equal to answer plus I plus x. So for loop 1 here, I have answer is equal to, well, answer is currently 4, I is 0, and x is 4, which means I get, of course, 8. So then I'll just put answer is equal to 8. All right, so then I go into loop 2. In this case, I is equal to 1. And I can't spell answer correctly here. And then I have to figure out answer is. Well, now I go through the logic again. Answer is not less than 4, and it's not greater than or equal to 10. So I don't do this code here. But answer is definitely less than 12. So I would still execute this again. So on loop 2, answer would be equal to, well, currently it's 8. I is now 1, and x is, of course, still 4. And if I do my arithmetic correctly, that's 13. So answer is now 13. And now we just continue on here. So in this case, I is equal to 2. Now, one thing that's nice here is that if I look here in this code here, on this line here, it says if answer is less than 4 or answer is greater than or equal to 10. Well, answer is now 13. It's definitely greater than or equal to 10. And I'm always going to be greater than or equal to 10 because I'm adding y. So here we have loop 3, and we'd have answer, which is equal, well, it's currently 13, plus y, which is 3, so that's 16. And then I'm going to just copy and paste a couple things here and change numbers. So all right, so then we still have to figure out the final ones of it. Now, of course, doing the logic here, we should see here that, well, it's going to be stuck in this first if statement for the remainder of it. So I'd have answers equal to, well, in this case, it's 16 plus 3, which is 19. So this is 19. Loop 5, answer is equal to, well, it's still stuck in this part of the loop, so it'd be 19 plus 3, which is 22. And then, of course, finally, it's still stuck in this if statement here, loop 6. Answer is equal to, in this case, it'd be 22 plus 3, which is 25. Okay, now, the only reason I was going to possibly pause and redo the code here was that we never ended up in this situation of using the else case with answer being equal to answer minus c, but that's fine. I mean, I wanted to be in there, but, my code didn't make it, so I was in there. I didn't think long enough about my code. But this is essentially one of the things that you need to be able to do, because one of the things is this course, you need to be able to not only write code, but you need to be able to read and understand code. And so you're going to have a problem like this on the exam here. Now, one final thing here to maybe review here on these. Don't forget about a couple other. This is an AND statement. So just as a kind of, let's do a couple things here. If I do an if statement, and if I were to say if answer is less than 4, and answer is greater than or equal to 10, this is stupid. Think for a second why that is stupid. Pause the video, maybe think for a second. This will never be true. Your code will never be executed because it's impossible for both the value of answer to be less than 4 and greater than or equal to 10 at the same time. So this would never be the case. Now, of course, I could modify this using some other variables to make this a true statement, but when you're writing your own code, be aware of that. The other things that you should be aware of would be things here, some other logical ones. This is actually logical equals, and then this is logical not equal. So keep those in mind as well when you're reading through the code. But again, this shouldn't be something you shouldn't know. You should already know all of this. This should be review of C code here for us. All right? So there will be a problem posted on Blackboard with some code like this. And then basically, as I said, that assignment will be just like answer whatever the code executes to be. So then what we're going to do is we're going to start working with the PSOC. Now, I know you guys don't have the PSOC device at this point. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be notifying Chris Bindum to get the PSOC devices and put them in her office area. And so you'll need to pick up a PSOC device from Chris Bindum by the end of the week. I would recommend doing it as soon as possible. I'm going to email her today, but with convocation and everything, don't necessarily expect her to have them today because she's going to have to go up into my office to get them. But, you know, if you pick them up tomorrow, that will be fine because then we'll start programming and actually starting to do some very basic things with the PSOC device.